Hello, everyone. Good to see you all here. Hey, Ethan.
Hey, Antonis, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing great, thank you.
Brilliant. Hey, Ray. Good to see you here.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's a lot going on. So I'm excited
Uh,
to be here and share more.
yeah, lots happening. Lots of progress. We
Yeah,
will
lots of progress.
we will get started for those that are brand new to Hypercycle. What is Hypercycle? We are engineering network infrastructure for the Internet of AI, and every fraction of a second, AI can attain higher intelligence or more revenue on the Internet of AI. You can own and operate network node factories. No previous technical experience is required. There's full education, support, and guidance offered. You can deploy yours or your client's AI to the Internet of IO AI. Visit hypercycle.ai for more information or contact us to book a meeting. Ray, I'll start with what's making a lot of news. AWS went down and it brought down a lot of services with it. Um, Obviously, it's brought down a lot of layer twos as well. Is this something that Hypercycle could help with in the future? Am I barking up the wrong tree here? What's your take on it?
No, that's the absolute correct tree to bark up. I think that's honestly one of the things that makes Web3 so enticing and inviting is exactly these kinds of outages. You have very large infrastructure providers like AWS, a lot of dependency. I myself was working somewhere between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. And boom, signal goes down. All of a sudden, certain MetaMask functions and calls to various addresses start going down. You start seeing half the internet go dark. And this is because there's a lot of infrastructure that's depending on nodes and compute that AWS is providing. So this is a great opportunity for decentralized infrastructure like Hypercycle and others to step forward and say, well, this is how we solve this. Come and use what we've got going on. We need to centralize. So this is a really great invitation and really a signal, I would say, to the rest of the world that Web3 really does matter. And we do need to decentralize more. And we have to make sure that we don't let very large providers like AWS and Azure and Ocean and all these big guys take too much of that market, because this is exactly the kind of thing that happens.
Thank you, Ray. Now, in terms of Hypercycle and other, is this something that's exclusively to Hypercycle, or is it Web3 in general that could overcome the challenges that we face today?
It really depends, on what it is you're wanting to host and run. What is the service that you're actually providing to the larger community? With something like Hypercycle, it's so flexible, it's so scalable, it can do pretty much anything. It's just a matter of getting the nodes out onto the marketplace and actually doing compute and providing the service and having the developers actually build on top of the node stack and provide all those APIs and all those kind of services. So really, it's depend and any other infrastructure provider that says, "Hey, I'm here 24/7. I'm plugged in. I have redundant power. I'm connected to the internet. I have redundant internet. This is my latency. This is how much storage I have. These are the resources that I have available. Are you interested?" And if you can make that point across and advertise that right, then market that correctly, then we'll start to see this spread out. I think in general, part of what I see with decentralized networks and communities, and this is something that I had to learn myself because I came from a very centralized perspective. I was an IT network engineer for 20 years, and I first started doing things in crypto in 2020. And I started seeing the value proposition of this space. And one of them is it's a challenge. It's actually two edges. The one edge is you get this very large, diverse community of contributors, of people who can develop and build and collaborate with you, which is ideal. But the other side of that is, how do you organize that into a meaningful, functional business unit that actually drives revenue and can actually make money and not just be a big idea tank? So, that's really been the challenge. And what I'm seeing is it moves slower, but it's more resilient. So it's taking longer. I honestly didn't think that the runway for crypto and some of the things I'm finally starting to see after 5 years of being in the space would take 5 years. I honestly, being such a noob in the beginning, thought, oh, this is already here, right? Crypto's already been around for 10 years or whatever it is. And so it's, we're already there. And the truth is, we're not. We're coming into the space. More and more people are building confidence in the space. I myself took me about 2 years to build the confidence that I needed to make 100% of my income crypto. 100% of everything that I make, all of my income is all crypto. I have no fiat based income streams at this point. I put myself all in. It was a big experiment. It was bold, and it has been painful and brutal, as many who have tried that over the last 2 years in the market will attest to. So there's a lot of learning lessons in that as well. But I think we've come a long ways. The runway's long, but we have a lot more people involved now, a lot more people interested. And when we have large outages like what we saw with AWS last night, and still ongoing, it's still not resolved. I'm still seeing cool little quirks and glitches all over the place that are related to that. That will inspire people to come into the space and join this large community.
Thank you, Ray, for your insights. Yeah, I'm admittedly not 100% crypto, but you're being a pioneer for us all.
Yeah, I've got the scars, and I've got the scars to prove it. There's all kinds of little tricks and ninjas and nannies that you learn along the way. How to get your crypto translated to cash, instantly across various markets and jurisdictions if needed, and also how to invest long term. How to see APRs that aren't 10% a year; they're 10% a month. If you do your homework and you're diligent and you look around at different DeFi opportunities across various networks, you'll see quite a few opportunities. The main thing is to just be very careful. It's always the same thing. Protect your keys. Don't ever spend more than you're willing to lose, especially on the riskier assets. And look at the long term. Because there's so much of crypto that's FOMO, that's got to do it now, that's pulse, that's 500x. Where is it? I want it now, and that degen mentality. And that's fun too. That's part of it. But to really survive in this space, you really have to map yourself out, look at what your capital is, what are you willing to invest, and kind of toe yourself in carefully. I was rebellious, I think, in the way that I entered the space and came in and learned a lot of lessons the hard way. And so I'm hoping that people can learn from that and also take the space very seriously. It is actually the most secure money on the planet. And people are slowly realizing that and learning that.
I agree with you 100% on the secure side. Uh, as we look at Bitcoin, which is an old technology now, it's still secure. It's still very, very secure.
Yeah.
I'll just
There's several networks that I've been participating that haven't seen a single hack and all the whole time I've been there. The tricky thing with crypto is you are your own bank. So all of that responsibility of taking out that middle player and going from point A to B, that's on you. Starting with your seed phrase and going all the way up into what you plug yourself in a DApp on some DeFi platform protocol somewhere. That's on you. So you have to be cautious, diligent, and careful, but the security is there. We just have to do that homework and that research and not degen ourselves in too quickly into things or we lose it.
and here at Hypercycle, we are looking to educate not just in node operations, in security as a whole. It's something that we feel very passionately about. So if you are brand new to this space, that is one thing. Just reach out to us. We can provide advice around that and help around that, and make sure that you secure your assets as we also secure the Internet of AI.
Looks like we have a special guest down there, Antonis.
Yes, I did invite him to the stage. There might just be a bit of a lag between him being able to come up.
In the meantime, what you said earlier about not having 100% of your revenue in crypto and Web3, Once we get the nodes running on this decentralized infrastructure, and we get it more mature, hopefully we'll resolve all of that, right?
Yes, definitely. Uh, the USDC payments and I mean, one of the things about Hypercycle is we are bridging that gap. We're using cryptographic technologies, but we're also embracing the traditional methods. Um, and I think that's what it's all about. It's not about us trying to bring uh, crypto to people. It's about them going to it because it's a natural progression, because it's secure, because of the benefits it provides. Hello, Tufi.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's
Yeah,
great.
great,
How are
thanks.
you?
Great, great.
We went off on a bit of a tangent. We were talking about the AWS outages that everyone's experienced online recently. Now we have you here, Tufi. There's been some photos coming out recently. Uh, Alexandra on LinkedIn, our chief of global strategy, posted a picture from Seoul, South Korea, with yourself and other members of the team.
Hmm.
And Thomas Frey, our Hypercycle advisor, he also posted a couple of pictures. And Professor Young Suk Park on YouTube has been showing a book.
Hmm.
So everyone, including myself, is really excited to hear what's been happening out there.
Yeah, a lot of exciting stuff. So, about a month and 5 days ago, y'all heard the announcement uh, about the UAE. They made the announcement of having hypercycle UAE, but at the same time, they talked about the um, moving the HQ to Abu Dhabi and the intent of how we can take the Internet of AI from um, the GCC nations that they're trying to be as neutral as possible to the rest of the world, and they uh, earned phenomenal position in that world. For those that they don't know, the GCC nations, there's six nations that they've been really trying to stay away from all wars and all kind of stuff in the Middle East, and they're trying to partake in having a lot of AI empowerments from many different perspectives, whether it is compute, supply, you name it. But this time around is around the Internet of AI, and that is the news of September 15th. Now, fast forward to October 14th, we've signed a term sheet with a bunch of South Korean groups that they basically Hypercycle UAE is giving a subsidiary into Hypercycle Korea, and I want this. We didn't really push this out before this X Space because I think you've asked me if we should push it out or we should tell this community first before we push it out, and we've decided to tell this community first, which is great. Um, so effectively, the way this deal is structured is that there's 225 million US dollars that's been signed on October 14th that comes all from Korea into Hypercycle Korea. And at the same time, 25 million US dollars will be sent from Hypercycle subsidiary in UAE to South Korea, plus $850 million worth of node factories, uh, priced at $5,000 without the C8 stuff. So for those that don't know, the current price is 1,450 before these events, and effectively the the main node factory before you add the C8 elements into it that they add about 5,850 into it, is based on a $5,000 price that is to be evaluated by a third-party company that is those certified evaluators. So we have a couple of them. They're working on that, and there will be a few more. And those third-party companies, they don't have to be hired by Hypercycle. They can be hired by any node factory owners. In fact, one of the sevens is hired by Hypercycle. The rest, they're hired by other entities that they in the community. So the results of that gives the from by those certified third-party evaluators, like people they ask like who are they, those third-party evaluators. I can it can give you a name of one that has not been contracted yet, which is called Accenture, but it could be any one of you can actually go and call Accenture and hire them to do uh, this evaluation. That's what they specialize in. They're known to be certified evaluators of products and stuff like that. Um, so with that, that means that we end up having the cash money, $50 million from that cash money would be used for operation, and the other 200 million to create a backstop for the end fee. Even before this, it's on it to be $5,000. So of course that means that um, what happens when the subsidiary in South Korea starts like selling those end fees. If you're sending $850 million and we're getting equity, so it's not like we're giving it away for free. We get equity into that entity in return, which is pro rata to the 850 million. So our share would be 875 million out of 1.1 billion, and that's effectively would have a massive amount of distribution that we've signed on a second day in South Korea, which is October 15th, at the National Assembly in Seoul. And we've got the witness from the reps of the South Korean government, 4 contracts, which reconfirm the 14th contract, and they do their own um, they add their own piece into the puzzle. One of them is a 20 megawatt for 10 years of compute. Another one is 3 others that they are institutes. They provide physical institutes that they call the Hypercycle 888 to educate people in Korea. So now we have South Korea would become a massive amount of distribution that will go from South Korea to node owners and operators, and all of that was signed a few days ago. So congratulations to everybody here in the community, because we keep working really hard to spread that. We have 7 more tickets to give to 7 different countries. We have a finite amount of money, as you all know. The term sheet that we signed in the UAE, the full amount is 452 million. From that, there is 52 million that goes in A1 and 400 million in the ROFR in A2. From that 400 million, there's 200 million dedicated, which we call it nation birthing. So 25 million per nation. So 200 million gives you 25 million per nation. So we will be announcing 7 other nations afterwards. But as I said to you about a month ago, we will not tell people which country on October 15th until it's been told from that country on that day. And that's exactly what we did. So yeah, we were there, and there were at least 6 executives from Hypercycle witnessing the deal, along with our general counsel from UAE, and so yeah, so it's exciting times that we've got all of this, and now we have 7 more countries to go. If we even if those 7 countries they would take an entire year, that's like a huge thing that we're making into the world. And slowly but surely, as you've all noticed, that we don't go into the mainstream media and become like the thing that everybody talks about, because those things that everybody talks about, they get you to be the product. We're here to get you to be the supplier and not to be the product. Because you are Homo sapien, you're dear to our hearts. You're one of us, and we really want to make sure that you're partaking that wealth creation and not the product of that. So every node owner, every node operator is partaking in that uh, wealth creation, and the methods that we have chosen, at least for now, is to, we call it nation birthing. And so of course South Korea is very well positioned to spread that into nine different countries, nine different Asian countries. Uh, and for those that they know history really well, they probably remember that South Korea was the first to adopt the internet from the United States back in the days, and it spread it into nine different uh, nations in Asia. And the gentleman who was responsible, one of the three gentlemen that was responsible, one of the South Korean gentlemen who was responsible for that, he was with us there in the room as well. So it's exciting times that he wants to um, have a push to push the internet of AI, uh, similar to how he pushed the internet for humans. So yeah, that's what the latest at a very high level. But I'm sure folks will probably have a lot of questions. We will have the press release pushed out. We don't know if we will have it from United States or Abu Dhabi. Chances are it's going to come out from Abu Dhabi because we've moved the HQ there and the subsidiary. And since this is being done by the Hypercycle UAE to spread into those 8 nations, so chances are will come out from there in the next hopefully 24 hours. That will include some of the details that I've just mentioned now. But yeah, you guys got to hear it first.
Wow, very exciting. Did you say 24 megawatts? What was that number, Tufi?
20 megawatt.
20 megawatts.
Yes, yes. So there will be lot more with many other HPC centers, but for now, in the one that we can talk about is the one that we've already signed and got witnessed by the reps from Korean government. So yeah, so that's one major HPC along with 3 institutions for the learning. So this is all for Hypercycle Korea, and yeah, so that's I think all great stuff that they're they're progressing quite nicely.
And you said that these are without the C8. Will those Amphi also have access to the C8 software that'll be going out in Korea?
Yeah, so that means that if you were to uh, so if I were to fast forward, let's say 3 months from now, you'll see all of the stuff that we just talked about to be see them in action. What do we like to see? Effectively, assuming that all prices there would be the same, you will have two prices for Amphi. The Amphi raw at $5,000 plus 5,000 or above. It won't be less. And the end fee with the C8 would be 10,850. So that's assuming all the prices remain to be the same. So that would be the listing. And the difference here in this listing is that it's got 200 million US dollars in that backstop to create that liquidity. That's a huge amount of like liquidity. So there will be an announcement soon of how we separate uh, the hypercycle, a global initiative that we're working with all mainstream folks that they're all like fiat and all of these things. As folks would know that we're not a crypto project, but there will be a split to have a complete representation that will have some crypto. I'll wait on until have that cake fully baked, but that would be very pleasing to everyone here in the community to hear about what's coming next on that. So in parallel to everything that I have mentioned is what I'm talking about, and having uh, separating that to a completely different entity. And the reason why we want to do that complete separation is we're dealing with hypercycle. We truly uh, going to power all the mainstream uh, companies and governments and all that into the Internet of AI. And that is completely a non crypto project. And then having a separation into the crypto project, so you can have it's kind of like you have a wrapped, like you can have like USDC, for example. You can have certain wrapper around the node that they get generated. So imagine, as a node factory owner, what is your business? Your business is to produce nodes. The analogy that I've used in the car, if you're car factory owner, you produce cars, right? Um, some people, they use your cars because they have some utility to go and make money out of those cars, and they drive Ubers or whatnot. Some other people, they just drive the cars because they want to drive the cars. Um, because they like to drive the cars, because they make them smarter, or makes them whatever things. They have their own reasons. For the Internet of AI, why would an AI want to plug a node that you're producing using the node factory? Why? It's either that AI wants to generate more revenue, or that AI wants to get smarter, right? So we know that there is a utility for that node. And so far, if that node generates, let's say, an extra $2 a month for that AI, which is the very bare possible minimum that anyone can think of. In fact, we haven't seen anyone saying less than $10. We have not. Every single one that they have deployed those nodes in production, they have been generating a lot more than $10 per node. But let's say you go very, very low at a $2. So then you have something that can generate like $24 a month. What's that thing worth? So if you have like 1,000 of those or whatnot, if we have 1,000 of those, 24,000 a year. So if you have some business that generates 24,000 in recurring revenue a year and has a lot of potential to grow and all of these things, many people would do the 10x multiplier and say, it's like, okay, well, then the node is worth $240, right? In that specific example, going at the very low $2. But uh, having some wholesale, like if you were to be a wholesaler and saying, like, I want to sell like massive amount of nodes that they've generated, will I sell them for less than $240? Possibly. So what if there is some entity that's going to do some representation of those, in similar to wrapped Bitcoin? It would do wrapped into those nodes. So if the price goes up, it's still wrapped into that. This is great. You have a wrapped Bitcoin on Ethereum, you buy it, and if the Bitcoin price goes up, it goes up with it. Goes down with it. Uh, so creating that complete separation is a project that a lot of people that they are in both AI and crypto, they might like it, but it also gives us the complete separation, that when we are working with governments and mainstream companies, whether they are Microsoft, Oracle, or banks or whatnot, then we can say with clarity that this project on its own is 100% outside of crypto. And the other one that they came in and bought from us some nodes, they want to put them as representation for crypto, and have something similar to the WBTC. So that can happen in parallel. I'll save that for the next time we do an X space, so it's like the cake is fully baked. I always give you a little bit of teaser of what's coming next. What's coming next as well as another nation that will uh, make an announcement, but we don't have the date when. I'm really, really, really hoping, you know, by December. But even if it gets pushed till January, the Korean deal is becoming the blueprint. So you take it and apply it for 7 different nations. Um, the difference is that when they take it, the next nations, it would be at whatever that price is at the time. So if the node factory is $20,000 by then it would be our contribution uh, of that currently went about. By the way, when we started talking about the deal in Korea, it was $200 million worth of node factories, and now they're $850 million, which went into this deal because we're close with doing those third-party evaluators. By then, maybe it would be, we know we created the floor, but maybe it's going to be above that. Maybe it will be the same. Even if it's going to be the same, we're committed to go and power 7 other nations, but the likelihood to be more so far from what we're seeing it, which means we send less node factories to get a similar impact into those nations. um, that's also makes a lot of folks that they're connected to some nations to kind of introduce us sooner rather than later. So then they feel like, oh man, I'm gonna get you to Norway next week, or I'm gonna get you Sweden, whatnot, because those nations they end up co-leading in having the Internet of AI. We named South Korea co-lead number one because the GCC is taking on the lead, and GCC, those 6 nations, they're kind of acting all together as if it's like uh, you know, um, as a future Switzerland for this world. So 7 other nations to go from on that thread, and in parallel to that thread, we will have this other one that I just left you with a teaser for now.
Thank you, Tufi. If you hear loud bangs in the background, it's Diwali at the moment, and I live in an area with a large community, Sikh community, and Hindu community, so they're all celebrating. um, there's no trouble where I am. Um, you talked about in Korea the education. What benefit do you see this bringing to Hypercycle and to the node factory owners? Is it to bring more volume onto mainnet, to expand the network? What's your thinking behind the education pathway?
Um, they came to us, by the way, from the Echo of the 14th. That's something you gotta give it to the South Korean folks that the Echo of the 14th gave them reasons to come in and give us those proposals. Those are uh, fully funded by them, and they are non-dilutive to our South Korean subsidiary. So it's great from that perspective because they care about spreading education and having their people to partake in that wealth creation. Now, uh, of course, the Echo of the 14th got them to come in and do those deals with us, but they've been studying us for the last about 4 or 5 months. We have a lot of back and forth and in working with them to get them to understand that if you want to have a boot camp of 8 days, you can have students on the number 9 days making money, while we're living in a world where people they go to get their undergrad 4 years, or you get even their PhDs in 10 years, and they wait for so long before they get into the workforce. Here, it's not that they only be in a position they're making money; they will be able to be making money and partaking in that wealth creation. For those that they're new here, they're hearing those things, would be like, "What's that? What does that mean?" Um, Wealth creation is something that existed in our civilization long before electricity. The example that we've given in the past to illustrate what that means, let's say you go to the city of London and you find the coffee shop and you spend, let's say, $1 million to buy this coffee shop. And in 6 months, you have, let's say, um, phenomenal reputation in that London area about this coffee shop, much better than what it used to be before. You service, let's say, 300,000 cups of coffee. fees per month as opposed to 100,000 before when you just bought it. You open 24/7. Used to be like the coffee shop used to be open from like just like noon to 8 p.m. or something like that. So the making money part is that most people they calculate is like, okay, this is the revenue minus the expenses, and then we've made like say $50,000 or $150,000 in those 3 months or whatnot. The wealth creation is more that this coffee shop, if you want to sell it for $2 million in 6 months, is it possible? And this is the answer that we've got across the board that yes, it's possible, and sometimes more. So let's say you do sell it for $2 million and you take those $2 million. So what is that extra million? That's called wealth creation. And then you go and buy two other coffee shops and do the exact same thing, whatnot. So that's something that we pride ourselves with hypercycle node factories. What we've enabled the communities is that they retain 100% of that wealth creation themselves. There isn't anything that comes to us because we are ledgerless. There is independence, complete independence from hypercycle. In fact, when you're running those node factories, you can choose to tell hypercycle or others about like your operation or not. You're completely independent. Your node factory produces the nodes without asking anyone for permission. It works autonomously and it works independently from any third party. So that's the beauty about the open internet of AI, and that's something that those education programs, they will be giving people the ability to uh, become like node operators or node factory operators, if you wish. So then that means that many people that they are node factory owners, they see that they can be the owner, but they don't necessarily have to be the operators. It's kind of like if you can buy the coffee shop, but you hire a manager to make the coffee and do the work. It's win-win because that one who's making the coffee, they're happy getting that great job that they can, get the salaries or whatnot. And but here the difference is that the node operator might have a deal with the node factory owner to say it's like, hey, maybe I can get a piece of that uh, wealth creation, especially that they can learn how to optimize that, and sometimes giving them a percentage can increase your percentage as a node owner because giving them like skin in the game is a good thing. So yeah, so that's basically what that learning program. There's the 8 minutes, which you all already heard of and know that this is something that people can do all on their own, but that can give you like a little bit the ability to get in and learn. And there's a lot of people around the world that they can go and get learning by themselves. In fact, especially in this day and age, like if you look at many of the jobs that people are doing on the current internet, they've learned, they taught themselves. So here you can still have that, but it gives South Korea the ability to educate uh, others in institution, and they would give them the certification, all of the stuff. So that's what's happening in those education programs.
Thank you for explaining that, Tufi. And I know a lot of people are interested and looking forward to the 8 minute. That is due this month, probably this week. So there'll be more to come there. And I've just one thing I did discover: it's not just one video. It will start with one video, but the 8 minute program is a full package within itself. You will have access to progressive learning as it develops. We also have on Thursday. Ray, did you want to just mention about the? It should be this Thursday. The Discord for and the plans around that.
Hey, yeah. Okay, so ask me again. Sorry, a little distracted with something I was just doing.
I was just saying, as we're on the subject matter of education, about the Discord and the live we're doing and the sort of plans around that to tie in with the 8 minute and the CBNO.
Yeah, so this Thursday we have a live demo of the Node Manager and a couple of aims that we're going to deploy live for you guys. So you're going to see this sort of what it looks like on the back end, what the payment system looks like, the financials, tilling, logs, those kinds of things, what it kind of looks like to be a node operator at this point, especially for those who are participating in the CBNO program. I just wrapped up some changes and modifications to one of these aims that turn text into speech and then let famous actors' voices speak that speech out. It's pretty funny. I'm looking forward to demoing that. I spent a few hours just playing with it last night, and I had a bunch of fun. Some of the voices on there are hilarious. You can have them saying anything you want. It's not filtered. So we're gonna have some fun this Thursday, and I think that is when is this happening? That is happening for me at 9 a.m. So that is, I believe, 1600 UTC on Thursday on Discord.
And that'll be on the live stage. We will put a link and a message out for that the day before, so you can
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be on
ready for
Roxham
it.
TV as well. I just accepted to speak live on Roxham TV, um, and I think it's happening at this exact same time as this one. It's like at 1 p.m. Pacific, so that would be what 8 p.m. UTC, I think.
Yeah, that's a
Yes.
little, yeah. That's so this Discord live is happening at 9 a.m. Pacific on Thursday. That's
Okay,
1600 UTC. Yeah.
so 4 hours after I'll be on Roxham TV.
Okay. Awesome.
Looking
Yeah,
forward to it.
there's all kinds of cool stuff happening this
With
Thursday. We got some meetings with some community members too, some very interesting use cases for Hypercycle that are opening up as well. So looking forward
yeah,
to
I
that.
think the the talk then is more about the stable coins for AI, because they've heard me talk before about uh, like a stage three where a lot of the folks they're looking into what things that we're working with to enable. Is it going to be USDC, USDT, or something else? And the reality currently, we're doing everything that is USD backed. But this interest of major institutions around the world, they want to do the representation in USD, and they may want to call it, let's say, they call it USDAI or whatnot, whatever they call it, but it's that's we call that stage three with us in hypercycle, because the velocity of money, the way it moves between um, nodes, is a lot faster than humans. So having a bridge for representation for between the human and the machines, uh, it would require something similar to how like the USDC work, or but in the back end, they would be all like nodes, hypercycle nodes, basically. That's going to be very powerful, because when one node's gonna tell another node, "Hey, can you help me with some compute? What kind of currency that they are sending to the other node?" And that representation uh, that is in the middle, would require major capital and major institutions that they know how to be compliant, similar to how like USDC came to exist. Um, but yeah, so that's the Thursday conversation for those that they're interested into tuning in.
Excited to hear about that.
I'm looking forward to see
Yeah.
some folks that they want to do that. Not only the the mainstream folks with US dollars. I think like at some point we at some point might expect maybe have Bitcoin and have the Satoshis to have that kind of utility, because that would be kind of cool. It's just a matter of time. but if anyone is interested into putting their bitcoins to use, and they're looking into having something like that, perhaps planning for the Internet of AI is, yeah, just send them over. I mean, I'm interested into looking into, so long as the value, like volume, matter, because like those bankers that they're talking to me about this stuff, they're talking about billions of dollars, similar to how like USDC, it's like in the billions of dollars. So if folks they want to, because you would be in a very good position where you have like your because those banks are just going to put their money it's already into their own bank. It's not like they're moving the money away. They just like have the representation into those machines. So similarly, you'd have it Bitcoin. The difference is that with Bitcoin, there's fluctuation, so you can always have something to reduce fluctuation, or you can keep it to be Satoshi, because those machines, when they talk to each other, they will know, I can send you one Satoshi to do the work. You know, it's like not that big of a deal. You know what the price of the Satoshi at the time that you're sending it. Um, it's just that the exciting part is that you won't have to move your bitcoins out of the you know, out of your whatever wallet that you've got. You just like have or put it in some sort of like smart contract somehow. So like the details that can be figured out, but it's effectively you don't have to move the actual bitcoins into the internet device. It's the representation of because that's what those bankers are doing for US dollars. You're not actually moving US dollars, the paper money. That when AI, when
So
they
you're
talk to
just
each
sending
other, they don't really
proofs.
send papers. They send exactly the actual proof the same way. Yes, you see that there's the proof that there's like money sitting there waiting and have been represented into the crypto world. There's something similar is happening into the AI world. So folks that they really think that this something that they would want to collaborate on or whatnot, happy to do so. I think this is the time to do it, and it can be complementary to a lot of other efforts that people are doing. It's just so far, all I know is all US dollars. Um, if people they want to do, you know, Bitcoin, it would be great because then it's all um, the the digital world all stays in the digital world, as opposed to like having the representation that comes from the atom world. Because every time you have a representation from the atom world, you have to depend on third parties. Like who's to say that this like that there's a lot of work that you need to do that, because who's to say that the bank is not using that money or took the money away or whatnot, you know what I mean? uh, every time you're depending on the third on the physical world, there's like that challenge. You know, you guys hear about like those like that's why I kind of stay away from like the gold representation of the stuff. Like, you know, it's like you're as good as your weakest link, and the weakest link here is like the physical structure that's like saying that they still have the gold there. I don't know if they still have it, you know. But in the Bitcoin world, where there isn't anything that you rely on any third party, it's all cryptographic proofs that they can put somewhere and then have the representation from one side to the other side. It's all like cryptography, as opposed to some physical world that you have to trust. Uh, you know, we live in this universe where we trust math, and it's nice to see that there's a lot of people going in this direction, because it works across the world, and it works really well. So yeah, I really think that that's something that it's a matter of time. I expect it to happen at some point soon.
Yeah, very exciting, and I imagine there'd be a lot of people that would like to see that. I can imagine Mauricio behind the HAPEC DAO his head is whirring at the moment as we speak, thinking of a way to um, enhance this. We have 10 minutes left. Is there any questions? If there is, feel free to put your hand up if there's something that you're burning to know, or you just want further clarity on, or any question you may have. Please do put your hand up. This is your chance to have your say. Um, one, yes, Ethan.
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to know if Tufi could provide a little bit more clarity behind his confidence of the $7,249 amphi with the being the floor, right? There's been a lot of chatter in the community about, how could you be so confident? So if he could just share a little bit more around that as to what the thinking is behind that.
Yeah, so this is a bunch of product adding up to that floor price. If those products uh, they um, they have a third party, let's say the IOI search. So there's a third party company that it's providing that. Sure, we've invested in this company. Doesn't mean that we can get them to do a lot more than what they're already doing for us, because what they've done, which is great, is that price is from the point of listing onwards, but the current node factory owners, they're just like getting a drop of that software so they can utilize it and not resell it. And people, they're happy with that because they can see the value of the node that they produce is higher having pieces of software that they're valuable. So yeah, so if that's the price that they want to sell their product, some might end up being successful and then they start increasing their product sale. I mean, some they probably don't. I don't know what the future, but what I do know that the present is that's those are the prices that we're able to negotiate, knowing where what they bring into the equation, how much more value they add into the nodes. So having the node factory owner having a subset of the software that they produce, so they can produce that software, is a huge win to the node factory owner. Um, some people they might buy the end fee without those. Some people they might buy those. It's uh, it's like you buy a car with a turbo and air conditioning and uh, all kind of bells and whistles, or you can just like buy a car without the stuff. That's the price that they're willing to sell those. Is there going to be a floor price for Bitcoin? Is there going to be floor price for US dollars? Is there going to be floor price for Microsoft? I don't think that is uh, is possible. In fact, like quantum computing alone can break the entire current encryption of like Bitcoin, for example. If somebody were to tell the world that, hey, we were able to break this and Bitcoin goes to zero. Today, that's a fact. This is not like I'm saying if this happens, then this will happen. Look, there's a lot of things that could happen, but having all the bells and whistles into the node factories and added value to the node factory owners, you're able to produce those software that they have um, they're valuable to that node. Uh, like um, like we've given the examples, the Internet of AI search. If your node has subscription for life into the Internet of AI search, it's basically it owns a perpetual license to have access to that, which means that it never pays for search. Some people they say, but wait, why should somebody pay for search? Shouldn't search be for free? There's nothing for free. Okay, if you search Google and you think you're searching it for free, you probably don't know what's really going on. You are the product if you're not paying. So, or you're part of that chain somehow. When AI, they're using things, they're a little bit more um, the direct. Maybe there will be ads that they will be seen by the AI in the future, so going to provide like the free version of the search, but that means that they're get monetizations from the ads, which slows down, or maybe sell more products with this AI or whatnot. But the point is having access to that, you can search and being available to others to search you. You're gonna, if you're available to others to search you, that uh, you know that means that your revenue is going to be increased. And if you have access to others faster in a search, it means your intelligence is going to be increased. That's what the whole node provides. So that's like one example of many that they add value. So is it worth $1,000 for the node factory to produce 1024 perpetual licenses of this thing that they are for life, which means that each and every one of those will cost you $1? I don't know. For some, maybe it's not because they don't, they're never going to use the search or whatnot. But objectively speaking, we've done our homework and we felt that they do add this value to the Node Factory owners and a lot more. So, so that's. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it definitely does. Thank you.
Thank,
Did
thank
you
you.
have a
I just
question?
like to always tell folks, just so you know, or those that they know me, uh, uh, that every time you're getting into this space, just remember whether it is US dollars, whether it is Bitcoin, or whether it is like a house you're buying, whether it is getting into hypercycle, whatnot, uncertainty always exists. The difference here that what we're doing, and I say it with 100% certainty, without any doubt in my mind, if you are a node factory owner, you are completely independent from any third party. Hypercycle can die and your node factory owner can produce those nodes. This is what we are building. This is what I know that is probably like you can say it's like, oh, wait a second, Tufi, you just said that, but then you died tomorrow and then this thing doesn't happen afterwards. Okay, but that's what we're working on, so don't kill me tomorrow. Wait until we give you the cake fully baked. But effectively, that's what the node factory does, and you can read the white paper and you can see that's precisely what it does. And we've been uh, going through a lot of back and forth with clarifying some of the stuff in the white paper that was pushed a few years ago, and then we pushed the 1.08 in July, and I think there will be an explanation of that node factory, which I would like to comment on now, if I may, to make sure that people understand something that implicitly was included before. I've mentioned it in the previous X space, but I want to mention it explicitly right now because it is extremely important. Can I?
Yes, of course.
Okay, cool. So, uh, Node Factory produces, you have an L10, it can produce up to 1024 nodes. And what everyone knows here that this node factory produces two L9s that they are acting as a node factory and as a node, the L9s. But then if you go through the paper in let's say the one that in July, you will see that when L9 produces L8, it produces two L8s that they are both acting as a node and a node factory, each one of the L8s, right? What's implicit in there, which I've mentioned explicitly in previous X space, and I'm going to mention it again explicitly right now because it's extremely important. Then what happens to L9? So L9 provided those two L8s. Each one of those L8s, they're node factory and nodes. But what happens to L9? That is the node. That is just a node. With all the license that you've got in it, that is a node. You have all the cryptographic proofs from the beginning of times until that moment that that L9 was able to produce two L8s. Some people may create market around that, and that's what I would like to save until the next session, because there could be some huge crypto project who might sell portions of those nodes and they can run with it, which is good for the entire community because they can provide like liquidity and all of these things around that. This is great, but it also gives us a complete separation of hypercycle from anything that it's a crypto. But it's a beautiful thing to see that when that node, we're everyone that is in hypercycle already know we're already in like Many that they started tilling a while back, they're already in level 9. People that they haven't started tilling, they're in level 10. They can do it. If they go as fast as possible, they can get to level 9 in 6 months. Uh, that's fastest. But L9, when it gets to L8, you have L9s that they are products that all they do is nodes. They're no longer factories, they're just nodes. So that node you can go and sell it for like, $240, like I was saying earlier, or you can sell it for $1,000. If depends if how much the receiver is gonna buy this node at that point. They don't really need to understand anything about factory. They just either buy the node from you, or they rent it or lease it, or they just plug it into their AI and it's gonna increase the revenue. You share the rev share with them. Whatever happens at that point, that node is only acting as a node. So if it is happening as a node and it has some representation, because folks they would feel that it's at the time it's semi fungible in a way, they could do that. But as it evolves from that point onwards, it won't remain fungible because some nodes they can continue gaining reputation indefinitely, others they may not. But at the time of creating the L8, if you read the paper again, that means it has a ratio of 2.0, all of them. They have that is common. They have no choice. They can't be 2.3. It doesn't work. It gets to 2.0 and it creates those two. When it creates those two, what happens to it? It's a independent node, and all of those independent nodes they have 2.0, so it's kind of fungible. They all have the same characteristics. So imagine you have a node factory that produces nodes, and each and every node they're worth $240 or 150 or whatever. That is the node factory business to produce those nodes. Even if all of your clients they buy your nodes from you because they want to increase their intelligence, none of them they're making revenue. That is a market that you may want to consider. In fact, every single government on the planet they're not going to plan to make money from the nodes from AI. They just use AI to get smarter. And every like for example, if it's uh, some sort of enforcement agency or security agency or whatever what you may want to call it. In the previous X space, I gave you the example of security agency that they want to have their cameras to get smarter, or research center that or drug research or a pharma or whatnot. There's a lot of demands for nodes that they want to become smarter, and they're not going to buy your nodes or lease your nodes because they need to make more money on their nodes. They're more on the other side. They want to get smarter. So both of those they create a huge market, and we want to make sure that folks in the community understand that at that point those nodes that they become completely independent, there is a market for those nodes that to consider that they are likely to be fungible if there's a representation of that to be some sort of like a token like a wrapper around like it's kind of like WBTC. uh, then you'll have an additional market to exchange with and sell the because you may want to sell it to some marketplace or directly through its representation with whatever wrapper that comes to exist, which I will save it for the next X space. But that's a lot of exciting stuff that they're happening in parallel to the nation birthing that I've given earlier in this X space. And we're super excited about Korea and having that blueprint to repeat it in many different nations. If anyone is close to presidents or prime ministers of the nations that they would like to nominate them, please do so. This is the time to do it. And would love to go and spread this. We have 7 more tickets. Each and every nation will get 25 million US dollars and 200 million in node factories. Korea got the 850 million. It's different because we started the conversation with 200 million. And just that, we're in the middle of that conversation, the evaluators start telling us it's going to be around that price. So we're like, okay, well, are you guys, uh, okay to take on the $200 million worth of that? And they're like, no, 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 we got to take it based on whatever you agreed initially. So we agreed with them on that, and that's why it's 850. But the rest of the blueprint, they will receive 200 million in node factors and 25 million cash, so long as they anchor in their own country the investments. There's a question here, Ronald.
Yes, thank you very much. Just a very quick clarification, Tufi, if I may. When you talk about the value of node factories as you did before, are you referring to a level 10 then, the 5,000 and 10,000 that you mentioned? In other words, if I have a level
Correct.
11 and twice the value, and once it becomes a level 9,
Correct.
is it half the value? Okay,
Correct.
perfect. That's all I
So
wanted to hear.
but what you have is that you have those, you already have them filled up because you came in before. Everyone here, they have them filled up with the C8.
Sure.
The valuators, they're valuing those without the C8 components. The C8 components, they add 5,850 into those, and that's why it's additive to the 5,000.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Tufi. And I do have a nation I'd like to recommend. Should I recommend here, or should I send you a message?
Uh, if you're that close to president or whatever, you can tell me now. I'm excited. Or I'm like, I can't wait. Maybe we should wait for the message. I don't know. I mean, maybe you want to wait until you get to hear from them, because if you say something now, what if they're not in a position to fund their own country? They have to be able to fund their own country 225 million. If they cannot have that, they're not going to be able. Look, I mean, we really worked really hard with UAE to have that funding be dedicated towards nation birthing. So we're putting 25 million per nation, but the condition is so clear that the nation itself has to anchor 225 million to their own country. They can call it different name if they don't want to call it hypercycle Madagascar or whatnot. But I'm not saying Madagascar is next on the list. I'm just saying whatever country. But it's if they want to call it hypercycle with that country, of course we would welcome that. But that's basically what's happening.
Thank you, Tufi. Yeah,
So
let me dot some I's and cross some T's, and then I'll come back to you.
yeah, yeah. If anyone anywhere that that this is the time to do it. We know of a few, but we don't know of all the seven. I can tell you that. We know of like a few, to maybe two or three that they are uh, very very interested. And as soon as they confirm the investments on their end, then we will just go, all five or six of us or whatnot. And the announcement tomorrow will include some of the pictures that we've taken into that trip. It might include some videos and stuff like that. And there's also like an entire interview that the some TV did with me there. Maybe it's about 30 to 40 minutes. And I uh, I recorded myself. I always record myself just in case the record, like the interviewers, sometimes they like to edit things, and I don't like that. I mean, because often when I talk, I might say some things. If you take them out of context, they would mean completely different things. People, they might misunderstand me. But if you hear the entire 40 minutes, TV interviewer there, then it would be great. So if they ever publish it, I hope they publish the entire thing. And if they don't, I will send you guys the video so you can post it online, so you get to see what was exactly said. But it's we're really really relying on South Korea to be the blueprint for every other nation, and they want to be the blueprint. They really really awesome people. They keep telling me they want to service their country to better service the world. It's a phenomenal way of thinking, and we're super excited to have named the South Korea the co-lead number one for the Internet of AI.
Hello.
Yeah.
Tufi, just wanted to thank you for all you've been doing. And just had a quick
Thank you.
question. Could you just clarify, please, the $2 floor? Was that at full expansion? Is that for node factories? Is that for Amphi with C8? Could you just give us a little bit more information on that, please?
Oh, we're just estimating. We're saying it's like, if hypothetical, I threw hypothetical things. If you were to uh, put a node, you say you have 1,000 nodes and you spread them randomly into 1,000 different AIs around the world, that they're all geared towards revenue, not the intelligence part. I was
Sure.
just throwing in hypothetically there, if you were to do that. Uh, and when we sent it to many different developers around that, we call them more like node operators, and we see what
Mhm.
they can generate. We have not seen anyone generating less than $10 per month per node. So we're saying it's like, okay, well, what if we get to be very, very, very pessimistic and say it's like going to be $2? What if it's $2 per month? That means it's like $24 a year. If that is a business on its own, what would
Sure.
say, let's say, 1,000 of those, and what would that give the value? Is it like 10x multiplier or whatnot? So then we're just trying to be very, very pessimistic in the actual valuating of the node itself, not the node factory. And given that your
Sure.
node factory
And so
produces, yeah,
those estimates, that's irrelevant of whether it's a node factory or an Amphi, it's just a node. And at the
it's
most
just the
conservative,
node
you're saying.
in the most conservative, the way we're seeing it, um, and um, and all the data that we've got gave us more than $10. I can tell you that I know and not I believe that all the data that I have seen from many, it's more than $10 per node that has
Mm.
been deployed, and that's in the very, very early stage when there isn't a lot of requests coming from out the outside world, which is very, 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 very conservative. Like having an AI depends of how much power you've got. Some people, they say they can generate $500 per node per day, no jokes, and
Okay.
they have reasons why they believe that. So it depends of how you position those nodes. So, but we felt that if we were to give value for the node that you produce based on revenue alone, should we go with the lowest possible, let's say $2 a month, and that can still give us, let's say, a couple $100 per node that you produce. Well, that's even if it's, let's say, $200 and you produce 1,024 of those, what would that business be worth? Now, this is the exercise that those certified third-party evaluators they go through, and there's seven of them that I'm aware of, and the two that they have been contracted, one by Hypercycle, one by one of the node factory owners, and as they come back with their reports, we will be sharing with everyone, because those reports, they can become they're they all help each other. Any one of you, if you work with any one of those, if you look at that report in the future and say like, man, I can make this report better, you can work with anyone and produce one, and then when you do, then you can help everyone in the community, because this is not Hypercycle has never been a zero sum game. It's been always like a positive sum game. The more you win, the more everyone in this community is going to win, because we are all partaking that wealth creation, that it's like an ocean that is likely to be $250 ocean, that internet of AI. And if we take 0.1% of that entire ocean, that's $1 trillion, and we're not even near that. So there's a lot to benefit each other.
Well, I thank you very much for just taking the time to clarify that a little bit. We've been in since TGE, and I know there's been some concerns, but I'm sure I echo a lot of people when I say, how much we appreciate, your tireless efforts and your nonstop motor. We're excited. We're in for the long term, and we're looking forward to just Hypercycle going out there, crushing it, and taking, who knows, even maybe more than that percentage you're talking about, Tufi.
I hope so too. We're really not gonna stop. We're gonna keep going, and um, we're go. Like the go big or go home. From my perspective, I say, go big or die. It's just, and guess what?
Well,
We're not gonna die. We're gonna keep going for it, and we're gonna make it. So it's like, if yeah,
well,
for me, it's this is sum up like my entire life. This is actually, I see one of the listeners here. Uh, Let me see. Oh, he's not here anymore. He just left. Sheldon. He came in through many different projects. Sheldon, I don't know if he's still here. Oh, he's still here. Yeah. Sheldon Wantash. So he basically came in May 2018, when I declared to the rest of the world in an event that I was hosting, AI Decentralized, had like 500 people in the room, and I said, uh, I've been out of the bank system for 10 years. Anyway, but at the time I was actually talking about how important to not have AI to be centralized and all of these things. And since then, Sheldon's kind of came into like a lot of the projects that we worked on, but he's also noticed that we do the multiple of the multiple because we want to make sure that we benefit everybody that came in with us, from the Toda to the Earth-64 to the Hypercycle, and we keep driving this vehicle forward and forward and forward. And you know what? Um, if um, the way I see it, like, if I die, well, I die. But if I don't die, guess what? I'm gonna continue working on it until there is no limit. Okay, because I really think that's how it goes. I know every single step that I make. When people, they look back to be like, oh man, maybe we judged this guy too early, whatnot, and ended up like getting a lot of people that they at some point could have been on the fence, but they come back to be like double down, be more partners, whatnot. And Sheldon can witness that. He's witnessed many of those, and he's here. I see him on the call, but yeah. So that's Sheldon. I'm so happy to see you here and see everyone here, and it's awesome to see all the supporters to be driving this. I really, really want us to take it to the next level, and I really hope that we close all of those deals that we've just well, we see them into fruition. Because closing is one thing, and going through the tedious process of having the bank accounts open, getting the money to clear, being able to send all of this money to where it's supposed to go, and all of that. Uh, I hope to see it sooner rather than later. So then that blueprint that can go to many different nations, they can actually see it actionable. And yeah, whatever it takes, we're gonna keep working on it and to see it through. Uh, if 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 for some reason it takes a little bit longer than whatever is needed, like many of the South Koreans, they know that the co-lead number one can go to some other nation, and they wouldn't want that to happen because they worked really hard with us for the last while to actually get that thing. To have co-lead number one is a huge thing. In fact, the current deputy prime minister of Korea, I wish I have camera now to show you the book that he's worked on for the last few years, an AI book in Korean. The very first page of the book, he's got my picture with him, and he's like dedicated to my best friend Tufi. So I really want to see them come through because they worked so hard to get there, and hopefully the 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 fruition will be able to all see it very soon, because this is just going to be a multiple of the multiples.
Well, thank you so much, Tufi. We appreciate your partnership and your leadership and your love. And thank you for clarifying so many things today. You know, I think some people are frustrated, and I think it's more so not because they don't believe in the project or the leadership, but just because they just don't know things. And I think the more some people know, time and time perspective obviously taken into consideration, but really appreciate your time today. Really appreciate the clarification, and we're looking forward to everything too. For you, take care and God bless.
Thanks, you as well. Take care. And thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jonas.
I am 19 minutes late for my next one, but it's okay because honestly, like this has been so good, and I have the proof because you have it recorded, right? Because it can go to people after they can see it.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Tufi. Thank you so much for coming
You're
on.
welcome. Ciao. Bye-bye.
So yeah, some key event dates to look forward to on Thursday. Earlier in the day, you've got the live on Discord where we'll be unveiling Node Manager. Later on, Tufi will be on Roxon TV. On the 5th and 6th of November, Tufi will be at the AI Futurist Conference. And then hopefully on the 7th of November, he'll be able to join us back here for HyperSpace on X. Tomorrow, we have the news coming out about Korea. So what, well, in the next 24 hours, so what Tufi was talking about, and you'll be able to see the videos and read all about it and just clarify everything. And then on the development side, we've got the 8-minute education program I know I said next week. I know I said last week, a couple of weeks ago. These are the things, but we're very confident that this is coming out in October. So you have that to look forward to. The Amphis tilling should also reflect on Explorer, so you'll be able to see your inherited uptime from there. So lots to look forward to. There's probably lots more I haven't mentioned because there is just so much happening at the moment. But once again, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I will speak to you all again on Thursday on Discord, and then on the 7th of November back on X. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks again, Antonis.
Welcome.